On one side, we have San Francisco, home to Silicon Valley's boom. On the other, Madrid, the beating heart of Spain's tourism industry. Two cities, two entirely different worlds, but facing the same problem: skyrocketing house prices. How did these economic powerhouses end up in the same crisis? And more importantly, how can they fix it? The answer lies in the unique forces shaping each economy. In California, tech wealth has driven a sudden rise in housing demand that far exceeds supply, with prices soaring as new developments struggle to keep up. Meanwhile, in Spain, the influx of foreign investors and tourists has transformed the real estate market, pushing locals out of neighborhoods they've lived in for generations. But both regions now find themselves in the middle of a tug of war, not between industries or governments, but between economic growth and the need for affordable living. Who's winning this battle for homes, and what does it mean for those struggling to stay in their cities? Today, we'll break down the forces driving this housing crisis in two very different places and explore what solutions are on the horizon. So let's get started. With over 47 million residents in Spain and nearly 40 million living in California, these regions aren't just economic powerhouses, they're also home to massive populations grappling with a common crisis: unaffordable housing. California's economy, with a GDP nearing $3.9 trillion in 2023, ranks as the fifth largest in the world and the largest within the US. This vast economic output, driven by diverse industries like technology, entertainment, and agriculture, positions California as a global economic powerhouse. However, this economic scale brings mid- and long-term implications. The heavy reliance on the tech industry, while fueling rapid growth, also creates significant economic disparities, particularly in housing affordability and income inequality. Over time, this could lead to social unrest and challenges in maintaining sustainable growth. At the same time, Spain's GDP of $1.5 trillion, substantial within Europe, places it far behind California on the global stage. This difference highlights California's outsized influence, but also reflects the distinct economic environments in which these regions operate. Spain's economy, driven by tourism, manufacturing, and renewable energy, provides a more balanced yet slower-growing economic model. Over the mid to long term, Spain faces challenges related to its aging population, and relatively high unemployment rates could affect the economy. Looking at GDP per capita, California's figure of around $90,000 signifies a high-income region with a correspondingly high standard of living. In contrast, Spain's GDP per capita stands at about $33,000, reflecting its struggles with unemployment and lower wage scales, yet offering a more uniform standard of living, with less pronounced income inequality compared to California. Now, if we talk about housing markets of both the regions, we find that both California and Spain face critical challenges, though they follow different paths. In California, the tech boom in Silicon Valley has led to an increase in housing demand. Cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles have seen property values skyrocket as high-income tech professionals flood the market. However, this rise in demand has not been met with enough housing supply, largely due to strict zoning laws and lengthy permitting processes. As a result, home prices have skyrocketed, making it increasingly difficult for average citizens to afford a home in these cities. This phenomenon is exacerbated by speculative real estate investments, where properties are bought and sold for profit rather than being occupied, further driving up prices. While Spain's housing market is different in its origins, it faces similar affordability issues. The 2008 financial crisis led to a collapse in Spain's property market, causing prices to plummet and leading to widespread foreclosures. Over the past decade, however, the market has recovered, driven by low interest rates, increased FDI, and an increase in domestic demand, particularly in urban centers like Madrid and Barcelona. However, this recovery has led to a rapid price increase in the property market, echoing the affordability challenges seen in California. So in Spain, this issue is compounded by a high percentage of home ownership, with cultural and social expectations favoring property ownership over renting, which intensifies the pressure on the housing market. The affordability crisis has a profound financial implication in both regions. In California, many residents have been forced to relocate to more affordable areas, often further from job centers, resulting in longer commutes and added pressure on infrastructure. The high cost of housing has also led to a significant household debt, increasing the financial vulnerability of homeowners. In Spain, the increase in property values has similarly pushed affordability out of reach for many, especially in major cities. The influx of foreign capital has led to gentrification, displacing long-term residents. Though rural areas remain more affordable, they lack the economic opportunities available in urban centers, creating a stark urban-rural divide. To address these housing challenges, both California and Spain have introduced various policies, though their approaches are different. California has focused on increasing the housing supply through legislative measures such as Senate Bill 9, which permits the construction of additional units on single-family lots. However, these initiatives have often faced criticism at local level, limiting their overall impact. In contrast, Spain has implemented rent control measures in cities like Barcelona to curb rising rents and protect tenants. Additionally, the Spanish government has invested in social housing and provided subsidies for first-time homebuyers. While these efforts have helped eliminate some of the pressures, they have not fully addressed the underlying issues of affordability in urban areas. Turning our attention to the landscape of R&D investments in both regions, we see significant differences. California's investment in innovation is particularly robust, with the state consistently accounting for around 25% of the United States' total research and development expenditure. The state's tech companies like Google, Apple, and Tesla invest heavily, contributing to a regional intensity in innovation spending that can exceed 5% of GDP in key areas like Silicon Valley. Tax incentives such as the California Research Credit further encourage this trend by allowing companies to offset up to 15% of their qualified expenses. In Spain, while spending on research and development is growing, it remains modest in comparison. Currently, Spain allocates 1.25% of its GDP to innovation, which is below the European Union average of around 2.2%. To address this, the Spanish government has introduced several programs aimed at boosting this figure. For example, offering tax deductions of up to 25% for activities in this field, with additional incentives for companies that increase their spending year over year. Despite these efforts, Spain continues to face challenges in reaching the higher levels of investment seen in more innovation-driven economies like California. When it comes to taxation, California's progressive tax system imposes a top marginal income tax rate of 13.3%, the highest in the United States. This rate, while contributing to substantial state revenue, has also led to some businesses and high-income individuals relocating to states with lower or no income taxes, such as Texas or Florida. In contrast, Spain's top marginal income tax rate varies by region, but typically ranges between 45% and 50%. Corporate tax rates in Spain are set at a standard 25%, with some reductions available for smaller businesses or those involved in specific research and development activities. California's economy thrives on its technology sector, with Silicon Valley standing as a global hub of innovation. This concentration of wealth and innovation has also contributed to California's housing crisis, as high demand from tech workers continues to drive up housing costs in already expensive areas. On the other hand, Spain's economy is diverse, but leans heavily on tourism, manufacturing, and renewable energy. Tourism plays a crucial role in Spain's GDP and employment, but this reliance makes the economy vulnerable to external shocks, as starkly revealed during the COVID-19 pandemic when the tourism industry collapsed. To counterbalance this vulnerability, Spain has been investing in renewable energy, particularly wind and solar power, which has positioned the country as a leader in Europe's green energy transition. This shift not only supports Spain's commitment to climate goals, but also creates new economic opportunities, particularly in regions previously dependent on traditional industries. The contrast in economic recoveries following the 2008 financial crisis is also telling. California's rapid recovery, driven by fiscal stimulus and infrastructure investments, contrasts with Spain's slower rebound, shaped by austerity and labor market reforms. While these measures stabilized Spain's economy, they also deepened regional disparities and triggered social unrest, effects that linger today. Both California and Spain have pivotal roles in global trade, reflecting their economic strengths. California excels in exporting technology, agricultural goods, and entertainment, particularly to Asia, enhancing its global influence. Spain, meanwhile, is known for exporting machinery, vehicles, and agricultural products like olive oil and wine, with a strong tourism sector contributing significantly to its economy. Spain's trade within the EU is crucial, but the country is also expanding its reach into Latin America and Africa, leveraging historical and cultural ties to broaden its global footprint. In terms of employment, California's labor market is characterized by its high demand for skilled workers, particularly in the tech sector. This demand has driven wages up, particularly in urban areas, but has also contributed to the state's income inequality. The influx of highly paid tech professionals has pushed housing costs higher, exacerbating the affordability crisis. In contrast, Spain's labor market has been marked by higher unemployment rates, particularly among young people. Despite recent improvements, Spain still faces significant challenges in creating jobs that match the skills and aspirations of its workforce. The regional disparities in Spain further complicate the labor market, with prosperous areas like Madrid offering more opportunities than the less developed southern regions. Meanwhile, environmental policies in both regions are ambitious and impactful, shaping their economic landscapes. California is renowned for its strict environmental regulations aimed at reducing carbon emissions and promoting renewable energy. These policies have spurred growth in the green tech sector, but have also raised costs for traditional industries, particularly agriculture, which is heavily dependent on natural resources. Spain has similarly invested in renewable energy, making significant strides in wind and solar power. This commitment has decreased the country's reliance on fossil fuels and created jobs, but the economic impact varies, with some sectors bearing higher operational costs due to stringent environmental regulations. As both regions look to the future, their environmental strategies will play a critical role in shaping their economic landscapes, particularly as global attention increasingly focuses on sustainability and climate change. Looking ahead, California and Spain are on the edge of pivotal movements in their histories. California, with its unparalleled tech innovation, faces a choice. Will it allow its success to be overshadowed by soaring inequality and a broken housing market, or will it lead the way in redefining what economic prosperity truly means? Spain, rich in cultural heritage and emerging energy solutions, stands at a crossroads. Will it seize the opportunity to reinvent its economy, or will it struggle under the weight of regional disparities and joblessness? These housing crises are not just signs of local distress, they're alarm bells ringing across the globe, warning of the deeper systemic issues that can no longer be ignored. The outcomes in California and Spain could set the tone for how the world tackles these shared challenges. Will these regions become symbols of what's possible when innovation meets inclusivity, or cautionary tales of what happens when progress leaves too many behind? The future is unwritten, and now it's your turn to weigh in. How do you see these stories unfolding? Will California and Spain rise to meet their challenges, or will they be swept up by them? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if this conversation struck a chord, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. The journey ahead is full of twists and turns. Stay with us as we navigate it together.